for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we come back to you for our next discussion as well. Now we stay in the region. The United States Army has confirmed it will not replace troops departing from Romania, but insists the move is not a sign of withdrawal from Europe or reduced commitment to NATO. The Army has stressed this adjustment will not affect Europe's security environment. The Romanian Defense Ministry has announced a reduction in U.S. forces, with troop levels expected to fall from about 1,700 to 900 or 1,000 troops. Officials in Bucharest have described it as a resizing aligned with new priorities under President Donald Trump's administration, which is shifting focus towards the Indo-Pacific. Despite the change, both Washington and NATO have reaffirmed that the United States remains firmly committed to NATO in Article 5, maintaining a strong presence of over 100,000 U.S. troops across Europe. Now we welcome back David K. Johnston. He's an American author, joins us live from New York. Thank you, David, for staying with us. David, as you were mentioning in our earlier discussion that, China needs U.S. needs China more than China needs U.S. But can we say the same looking at this? Does NATO and Europe need U.S. more than U.S. needs them?
Well, that's, I think, a very important long-term question here. Now, the U.S. is only reducing by half the number of soldiers in Romania. It's essentially a battalion, not even a brigade. A battalion is roughly 1,000 soldiers. So that we're going to go from 2,200 to about 1,100 soldiers in Romania. The more important question with that is, what's the signal that sends to Vladimir Putin, who has been increasingly aggressive in Europe, sending drones as well as manned military aircraft to violate the airspace of countries like Lithuania and Poland and Denmark, and engaging in menacing behaviors as part of his long-term strategy to put together a modern version of the old Soviet Union with its satellites. So the political signal here could reasonably be read as somehow signaling Putin to keep going. On the other hand, it's 1,000 soldiers. It's a drop in the bucket. And even in terms of directing, pivoting toward the Indo-Pacific, it's still only 1,000 soldiers.
Yes, indeed. But how might Trump frame this troop adjustment to signal continued U.S. commitment to NATO while prioritizing Indo-Pacific? And how do you think this will be viewed by Europe? But in Trump's eyes, how do you think he thinks Europe would see this move?
Well, Trump doesn't particularly care what European leaders think. He's made that repeatedly clear in statement after statement going back to his first term. I mean, he's literally talked about that the NATO is antiquated and no longer needed, which I think none of the other members of NATO would agree with. Lacking the historical knowledge of the importance of NATO and its role in blocking expansive Russian aggression, Europeans are going to certainly look at this as, is this a single issue with 1,000 soldiers, or is it part of a bigger trend of Donald Trump trying to weaken American support for Western Europe?
Right. With that, I would like to thank David K. Johnston for joining us and sharing that insight throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to our next news. U.S. President Donald Trump has told American troops that he's prepared to send more than the National Guard into U.S. cities if needed, signaling a willingness to escalate federal intervention in Democratic-led jurisdictions facing unrest. Speaking aboard the George Washington aircraft carrier docked at the Yokosuka Naval Base near Tokyo, Trump has said that his administration was determined to ensure public safety. Later, speaking to reporters aboard Air Force One en route to South Korea, Trump has confirmed he could take, since June, Trump has deployed National Guard troops to several Democratic-led cities, including Los Angeles, Memphis, and Washington, D.C., and has sought court approval to send them to Portland and Chicago. In Los Angeles, active duty Marines were briefly deployed to protect federal property before being withdrawn. Trump has also left open the possibility of invoking the Insurrection Act, a centuries-old law allowing the president to deploy active duty troops for domestic law enforcement. Now, for this discussion, we welcome Robinder Sachdev. He's an international affairs expert, joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much, Robinder Sachdev, sir, for joining us today. Good to see you. Looking at this, it seems like Trump is seeing this as a very serious or exaggeration, and how might his statements about deploying federal troops affect federal-state relations and the balance of powers once again?
Well, thank you very much. You asked very important questions. I would suggest that we, your audiences, us all in the world, should look at America today, starting with a view that there is a revolution ongoing in America. It is a revolution. We may look at, National Guards being sent here, there, MAGA policies and what Trump is doing, what policies regarding education, immigration, and all of that. We have to understand that fundamentally there is a revolution ongoing in America. One. And secondly, this revolution, according to not Trump, but many of Trump-based supporters, they say this revolution will be bloodless if the liberals and left allow. That's the big picture. So there's a revolution ongoing in America. We got to understand, the world has to understand that. Now, in this revolution which is ongoing in America, of course, one element is there that the power of the presidency has to increase. It's not about Trump. Sure, Trump is the president today, but 50 years hence, 20 years hence, some other president, the power of the president has to increase. That's what Trump is trying and working towards. That's what the MAGA base wants, and it's a revolution underway. So if there are any issues which may or may not relate to immigration, supposing immigration in this case, National Guards, if something is happening within the American empire, within the American mainland and other states, the president has the power to send in any level of power, be it local, be it federal, to achieve the results. So what we are seeing, and we have to really realize, the world has to understand, there's a revolution ongoing in America wherein the conservative and MAGA and Trump philosophy is expanding the powers of the president, federal, and shaping the country in their own image.
And building on that, it's very like a breath of fresh air, I would say, your answer. Good, very nice learning from you. And sir, how should U.S. balance its democratic values, or, it's known for democracy, while learning to tackle this revolution, and while learning to, or not learning, but while making sure president has the control or the safety of its citizens?
You raise a very deep question. The point is, the Trump administration power says this is democracy. We have the majority, right? We have the legislative majority. Forget the legislative. The president has a majority of the people who voted. He's the president. So what the president says, decides, should be the way in which the nation should work. One, that throws up a weakness of democracy, by the way. In America and anywhere in the world, look, France, India, Germany, Japan, 2/3 people vote for a government, right? Or a president. 1/3 don't vote. 2/3 vote. Of the 2/3, that is about 65%, maybe 38% vote for one and 35 for the other. And the one with 38% of the vote gets to be the president. That's what democracy is. I see what is happening in America is an example of democracy. I would not say gone wrong, gone bad. No, not at all. Democracy, the ethos is deep, but that is the reality. So that's democracy as we define it today in this world. Trump has a majority as a president. So whatever decisions he takes are the ones which should be implemented.
Right. And so, sir, why do you think this revolution is happening so intensely under Trump administration? Do you think there are cracks in so-called, as you said, democracy? Let's just say it's democracy 1.0 for now.
No, American democracies, I would beg to disagree with you. I understand your point. It's not democracy 1.0 in America. Democracy in America is probably 3.0. All nations of the world look up to American democracy. That's one. Okay, all nations in the world, let us be clear, have lower levels of democracy than America so far before Trump. It's a very honest assessment, I would say. The second reason why this is happening is that in America, there's a perception. America is no longer a melting pot. America has become a boxing ring where both sides fear each other and hate each other. The MAGA crowd, they say that the liberals, the left, the socialists, they're out to control the government, they're communists, they'll take away your homes. They're communists. The liberal side says to its base that the MAGA crowd is authoritarian, fascist. Both sides fear each other like anything and hate each other. Both sides, out of the 2/3, 1/3 don't vote, 2/3 vote. Out of the 2/3, 1/3 approximately, let's say the Republican side, conservative side, and 1/3 liberal side, socialist side, hate each other, fear each other. That's what we are seeing playing out in America today.
With that, I would like to thank Rabinder Sachdev for sharing that insight. Please stay with us as we come back to you for our next discussion as well. Now we stay in the region. A massive police operation was carried out in Rio de Janeiro